Remember, I told you like casual wrestling fans and some wrestling fans don't know who these guys are.
Yeah.
Zack Sabre Jr. versus Action Andretti dropped 21% of the viewership
Yeah.
when that match took place. Then when Kachori Shibata took on Lee Moriarty, dropped 13%. Again, you can't just throw them out there. Guys don't people don't know who they are. And I get it. The Twitter guys and gals can sit there and be like, "Oh, if you don't know, you're not a true wrestling fan." Man, people don't watch wrestling that way.
True.
People
Yeah.
are paying $9.99 to every damn website so they can follow. Oh my goodness, let me see what they're doing over in New Japan. Oh, great. I mean, yes, you have your few that I check in on it every once in a while. I'm not saying I watch every show. I'll watch it every once in a while. I know who, the main players are. If something happens, I'll click to it because I follow NJPW and NJPW World. But your wrestling fans don't, man. And I get it. You're gonna have your comments. I'd be like, oh, if you don't know, you're not a true wrestling fan. Well, man, dude, what is a true wrestling fan? Explain to me that. What is a true wrestling fan?
Tua Time's a true wrestling fan.
Okay, all right. We'll just say that from now on. If you're a Tua Time, what you watch everything?
I mean,
you have, and I'll go back to this whole thing on this. You have no life to where you're sitting there watching New Japan Pro Wrestling at 5 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is when that comes on. Then you're watching every show, every WWE show, every AEW show. You're watching Game Changer Wrestling. You're watching the stuff on Fight TV. You're watching the indie stuff. Then you're a Tua Time.
Yeah, not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people invest that much time to wrestling.
To text that guy and be like, "Have you ever been to an independent show? Yeah. You're not a true wrestling fan." Because until you go and support somebody in front of 10 freaking people, and you watch somebody learn from the ground up, this business and this, and have this as a career, dude. Just because you pay money and you go to AEW. And all these guys once they've gotten big. No, man, kiss my ass. Time. All right.
Well, I will tell you this. You're right. There's only a good chunk there's a good chunk, but there's also a bigger chunk of people who are not following like you and me and like Tua Time, like Karen, a couple of us that are continuously look at my brother. A lot of us that just basically focus on, hey, let me look into WWE, let me look at AEW, let me look at Ring of Honor, let me look at New Japan. So, and that's the difference. But I mean, I get it. It is what it is. My only thing is, I know you could probably kind of showcase these guys by putting them maybe on the YouTube or putting segments of them on their IG pages and their Twitter pages and stuff like that to kind of bring some knowledge to the casual fan. But again, there's not a lot of people who also are going to be following the AEW account either. And you only have a certain time frame before Forbidden Door comes around the corner. So it's kind of hard to kind of promote and showcase these guys. That's why at least they tried to do it in Rampage. It's a tape show. It's on a Friday. Somebody might tune in and they'll be like, yo, who is this guy? And they probably liked it. But unless we could find a different way to showcase these New Japan wrestlers, then I don't know what else can AEW do.
You have a YouTube channel. You have social media. Put together a 3-minute clip, throw it out on all your social media, and people will go and look at it.
But remember, Sean, the casual fan is not also following these accounts.
Most of them are following the AEW wrestling account. Yes, I'm not saying they're sitting there following every of one of the wrestlers or one of the stars or anything.
I don't know, man.
There's not following WWE, AEW. You'll follow most of the main ones, and you'll get it. But you got to do something more than just say, hey, because Frankie, if they're not following the account, they're probably not watching Dynamite either.
I wouldn't say that.
They're probably not watching. I can tell you now, they're probably not watching Rampage, just looking at the numbers.
Look at this. Check this out. I just went on Twitter. AEW, how many followers they have? 925,000 followers. So when they break over 1.2 or whatever when Shane Punk was there, they don't even have enough Those are people who are just tuning into the show because they hear it on TV and everything. So that I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm also giving you a different perspective of letting you know that not only just because you watch AEW does not mean you're following AEW's Twitter
No,
account.
it doesn't. It also doesn't mean that whoever's following that is watching the show either.
Correct. So then that's why.
But what does it hurt to throw out something to possibly 900 and something thousand people?
Well, they did the Bryan Danielson, kind of like the build up a little bit now for the.
Yeah, but everybody knows who Bryan Danielson is. I get the Okada one, but you should still introduce Okada to the United States wrestling fan. I get it. He was here last week. I get it. He's a name. I get all that. But damn it, man, show something, dude. Because I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Like you've got to present them better than on a trash can lid, man. I can't remember what movie it was. What was the movie where they're like, oh, you presented him like a filet mignon on a trash can lid? That's how they do a lot of these guys, man.
Okay, I could say that about the AEW wrestlers. I can't. It's for me. It's hard to go ahead and just say the same thing about these New Japan guys because, again, like I said, they have to look at it in two ways. These guys are only going to be showcased for their pay-per-view. It's not like these guys are going to be showcased for after the Forbidden Door.
Sell your pay-per-view.
Yeah, but Sean, you at the same time, man, like they also want to go ahead and try to sell. They also got to take care of their own guys. We had this discussion last week where we were saying, hey, look, they're not even going ahead and showcasing the talent that they already have in AEW. So
how many weeks do we have before Forbidden Door right now? 3 weeks.
Probably, yeah, because June 6th,
25th, right? So yeah, less than maybe you probably get 3 Dynamites in, right?
Yeah. You
got this one, the next one, and the next one,
and 3 Rampage.
Okay, so why not? Hey, here's 1 minute on this one to be continued. If you do the next minute, if you make a 3-minute video of Okada, you play it on Dynamite. You play the 2nd minute on Rampage. The 3rd minute on the following Dynamite.
But then you're gonna get mad.
Production.
But then you're gonna get mad because they're doing like 20 different segments, and you because they're trying to fit everything in at one time.
Listen. Yo, listen. AE Dynamite. I believe it was this Wednesday. Maybe it was last Wednesday, and I forgot to bring it up.
Okay.
The first 8 people I saw on that damn show had 8 Ring of Honor belts.
Well, I will say this. I am actually hoping that they start showcasing some of those Ring of Honor in Rampage. And I they have to, because Ring of Honor doesn't have the same audience as AEW. And now you're pushing AEW second show. You have to make that AEW Rampage relevant. I would start pushing in Ring of Honor wrestlers to that show and start showcasing more Ring of Honor wrestlers in that show to get some spark on that show, to be something different than what you're going to be giving them in Dynamite and what you're going to be giving them in Collision. That's my take.
If you're bringing up Samoa Joe to Collision, there's more Ring of Honor talent coming up to your other shows.
Yeah, I think the main guys of Ring of Honor, like the champions, they're going to do that. Yeah, Cat for Life, I see you. I think they're going to do that either way. I mean, those are their big stars. And people want to see them. I mean, Claudio has done a great job. Samoa Joe has done a great job.
I love watching them. I love seeing them. I don't need to know that you're the Ring of Honor heavyweight title if you're on AEW.
For me, it doesn't bother me. For me, it really doesn't bother me. It doesn't. I'm being honest with you. It's a form of cross promotion. You're able to promote both of them. You're
cross promoting what?
You're promoting not only AEW.
Watching on my app that's recorded.
You have this issue with like Ring of Honor fighters. I mean, dude, like they're wrestlers. They're still a part of the AEW brand. I know that this is not WWE. WWE does the same thing with when they cross promote. They're supposed to sell this draft situation between Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and this is the same thing. They sometimes Kevin Owens and Sammy.
What are we bringing? The Evolve Tag Team Champions up? We got the Evolve Heavyweight Champions showing up over there. Carmelo Hayes come in there and defend the title. The NXT title on the line.
Oh, but hey, what about Corbin and this guy?
Wait. Corbin showed up with a title? He
No,
stole
no,
somebody's title
but
and went to NXT with a
but he
WWE
went
title?
but he
Is that
went to
what you're telling me?
NXT. But he
He
went to
showed up with
NXT
a WWE title because that's what they're doing. They're showing up with Ring of Honor titles.
because they have it. I mean, what do you want them to do? Cover it up? They have no other choice. They gotta walk with their titles. What do you want them to do?
What do you
Not bring
mean?
them at all? If they're in Ring of Honor, right?
So let me ask you this: is Ring of Honor pushing the Blackpool Combat Club?
No.
Okay.
No, like, do you see the Blackpool Combat Club in Ring of Honor? I mean, I don't see their shows continuously, but I don't see them pushing all of them. Now, Claudio is out there,
Why does
Wheeler's out
Claudio
there.
have to show up with the Ring of Honor heavyweight title?
Because
In Ring of Honor, he's not the Blackpool Combat Club Claudio Casanelli.
But he's
Claudio.
But he has. So you want him to take off his belt and just walk without any belt?
You
and just
do
like
understand the belt comes off the way. He doesn't wear it all the time, man.
I understand
he only wears
that.
it when he goes out behind the curtain.
But
he's not walking around the curtain. He's not walking around backstage like, "Hey, look at me, guys! I got a belt."
I don't understand what's the big deal of the guy wearing if he wants to. We already had this conversation once too.
We'll have it every time. We'll have it every time because if your program is AEW, then you're AEW. Your Ring of Honor champions defend the titles on the app.
Cap for life. I'm not gonna look, man. I just don't understand what's the big deal. Like if you're gonna be this picky with AEW and Ring of Honor, then I mean, I hope you bring that same energy when it comes to the WWE side because they do the same thing. Why are they bringing Corbin to NXT? He has no business going over there. But
he's not going there with the belt, though. You're not. That's what you're not.
Okay, so Zammy and KO make their way over to SmackDown, but they got drafted on Monday Night Raw.
Okay, but it's Raw and SmackDown. That's like going Dynamite and Rampage.
Technically, technically they have kind of educated us in the way of like, yo, we got to look at them as two different brands. That's kind of like the way. Even Triple H came out saying, "Hey, look,
aren't they the unified tag team champions? So they have the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles."
But Triple H said that the draft was going to separate the roster and people were going to stay in their supposedly show. So hey, if I'm in SmackDown, and I'm in Raw.
When I was arguing, they need to break up the titles because they need titles in both brands. You said, what did you say? What did you say?
That they weren't going to break them up at all.
They weren't going to break them up because what were they going to do?
They were going to use both. They were going to use both of them in both shows.
But again,
that's what I'm telling you.
Dude, they do not change the title. You know, they're not. It's not the WWE Raw title on Raw, and it's not the the Evolve tag team titles on SmackDown. They're still the WWE titles.
All right. Let me
with defending AEW titles. Make up an AEW title. Call it the AEW ROH heavyweight title, and then bring it out.
All right, let me remember something because I'm bad with memory. But remind me, and I believe this happened. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, call me out on it.
No, I'm not.
But when WWE bought WCW, didn't they bring the WCW belt to WWE at the same time?
They did the invasion angle,
but they brought a WCW title as well, right?
They did the invasion angle, yes.
There you go. So I don't care that they use that angle. They use they use the invasion angle. Okay, that's great.
But the company. It was an invasion angle, bro. It wasn't, dude. If you're gonna do an invasion angle and you're gonna bring Ring of Honor in, then of course have the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion there and do that. That's part of the programming. That's a terrible example, man.
I'm just
giving. You have made that part of an angle. If they have Claudio and Yuta and Moxley go to Ring of Honor and they come back in and invade AEW as Ring of Honor, then that's different. You're using that's part of an angle. But there's nothing to me that says, okay, let's open a show with your heavyweight champion against one half of your tag team champions, call it a double jeopardy match to see which one will get to take on, take on the other one for their Ring of Honor title on All Elite Wrestling television time.
I think the reason you see it that way, Sean, is because you are the wrestling perspective of this. You have the experience when it came to wrestling. You know that side of the business. I'm more of the casual fan. I never wrestled, so I don't know like the whole like mentality as a wrestler. It's two. We look at it in two different ways. You
We
look at it as
do,
the
we do.
wrestler, and I look at it as the casual fan.
Mhm.
As the casual fan, for me, it doesn't affect me seeing another organization, Ring of Honor, carrying their belts in an AEW show because they're both working for AEW.
Okay,
They
then
even
let me ask you this though, real quick. I'm
go
sorry
ahead.
to
Yeah, no,
interrupt you.
go ahead.
Then what makes All Elite worth watching?
The the overall wrestling and the overall stories that they develop with the guys that they have.
But they can't even put their it's Ring of Honor titles that are coming over. So why don't I go watch Ring of Honor on the app? If their performers are that damn good that they're getting the All Elite Wrestling TV time, then why don't I go watch Ring of Honor on the app?
There are some people who actually do go see them in the app as well. They are.
But again, that's what I'm saying though, is you're right on the cross promotion side of it. I understand that of end of it. But it goes back to growing the product. How are you growing All Elite by promoting Ring of Honor?
Because AEW owns Ring of Honor as well. So, what do you prefer? Do you prefer have no fans, or do you prefer to have some type of fans
So
on
you're saying if there's
of
no
both
Ring of Honor,
brands?
AEW has no fans.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You're saying if it wasn't for Ring of Honor, AEW has no fans?
No, but what I'm saying is, if you have AEW fans and you have Ring of Honor fans, I'd rather have something than nothing. So I'm not gonna go and just say, hey, just because I don't separate both of them, I'd rather have a fan than not have a fan at all. There's a lot of people who don't tune into Ring of Honor. Remember I told you how many people are subscribed to their
Yeah,
app to
I
see the
know
Ring of Honor.
that. But
So
again, that's what I'm saying is, to me, what Tony Khan is telling me by putting the heavyweight title and pushing Ring of Honor so hard, please go and subscribe to Ring of Honor.
yeah, but Sean, there's a
They're
lot of
more important than giving All Elite Wrestling talent TV time.
I'm looking at it as well as a business standpoint. If I don't have enough fans subscribed to my Ring of Honor, and my wrestlers need they want their names out there. They want to be known. And they have contracts for them and all that stuff. So what am I gonna do? I have to be able to satisfy not only the wrestler, but I also have to be try to gain as much as I can from
Again, you
that organization. So what I'm gonna do is what do I rather do? Stick them at Ring of Honor and no and 100 people, 100,000 people just watch them, or am I gonna go ahead and stick them into AEW once in a while and at least showcase them and be able to say, hey, look at Claudio. Because then not only that, you probably might get some of these fans who are actually going to go ahead and say, "Hey, hold on a second. Let me check out Ring of Honor as well, and maybe they could gain some more subscribers." So I'm looking at it as a business standpoint. I know it doesn't make sense. I know it in the wrestling world. I don't. It doesn't make sense. You're right.
know, the
I
thing
under,
is, it
I
does
understand
make
separating
sense.
both
The
of them.
problem is it's not making dollars for AEW. That's the problem. It makes sense to market it. It doesn't make dollars.
Well, I wouldn't say that. You want to know why? You want to know why,
How do you
Sean?
not say that?
I'm they're making some type of money, and I'm not gonna lie to you, if you're not promoting Ring of Honor in AEW and some of these wrestlers, then you're not going to tune into even the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Sometimes I don't even know when the Ring of Honor pay-per-views are going on. And the only way I know that there's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view going on is because they're actually promoting it on the A Dynamite show. And I'm pretty sure they're going to do the same thing with Collision. So I get there. I get his idea. He's a business person. He's trying his best to satisfy the wrestlers, the actual AEW brand. Look at it in this way. Yes, I know he bought Ring of Honor and he brought AEW. Yes, he sold it to us saying, hey, I'm going to split both of them and we're going to have Ring of Honor by itself and we're going to grow Ring of Honor and then we're going to have AEW. It hasn't worked. So, what's his next best thing to do? I'm going to showcase both of them. Is it the right thing to do? For some people, it is. For some people, it isn't. And I get the mentality. I get the idea. Look, they were defending Willow Nightingale fought on that Rampage show. She has a belt that is from New Japan. Am I gonna go ahead and knock her because she has a New Japan belt on her? No. She's fighting. She's defending that belt. It is what it is. I'm not, and she is an AEW wrestler, so that's good. I'm at least you're getting that as well. So you're whether she's wearing a belt from New Japan or wearing a belt from even CCW, it's you're promoting that wrestler, and that's the most important thing. You
Okay, well, then
want
let me ask you this: since we're talking all that stuff, then
okay.
if it was about putting belts on, how come Ariel Levy couldn't wear a CCW heavyweight title to the Ring of Rampage?
Oh, because they don't owe CCW and they don't have a contract working with them. So they're gonna do huh? You like that response? I'm telling you, they don't have now. If you got a contract with CCW and CCW and them have an arrangement, Ariel Levy can come with a CCW contract. Why do you think New Japan wrestlers are coming in with their belts? And it's
We
the
can go on this all
yeah
day.
it's yeah we can we've been
I can
going
go on this all day. But my thing is this: you're too concentrated. You have spread the AEW wealth now over AEW, Ring of Honor. You're helping out New Japan Pro Wrestling. For a while, you were helping out Impact, right? Because remember when the first, all that stuff.
yeah.
So why don't you take all of that and make AEW the best AEW?
I don't get what you're trying to say with make it the best AEW possible. They're different. They're all different brands. They're all different wrestling organizations.
I get that. That's what I'm trying to say, though, is that you're promoting all these on your AEW platform. Why?
Because they have contracts with them, so they have to go ahead and
contracts with who? They own all Ring of Honor. They have nothing. They have an agreement with New Japan.
Well, there you go. They have they had an agreement with New Japan and they had an agreement with Impact. So if you have an agreement with them, same thing that happens when they're sharing their wrestlers over to their
make the agreement
because it's different. It's different. I mean, there's a lot of people that look, man.
But if you're not taking advantage promoting it, it means nothing.
They are taking advantage of it. I mean, look at Forbidden Door. Like for me, I actually the first time I saw the pay-per-view last year, I was like, okay, I don't know most of these guys. Now that I've seen them and now that I know and I started watching, I was like, oh crap. So now this year, a year later, I'm like, I know who these guys are. I follow now New Japan. I'm a die.
You do, yes.
But so you're gaining traction, whether it's a small percentage or nothing at all, but you're gaining something. And I understand what they're.
Here's where I'm going to go old school style. And now, before I used to think Vince McMahon's like whole thing was like crazy. Now that I think about it, like, dude, why would you want to promote other people's product to water down your mate? And I'm using Boss B's word right here because it just came in, to water down All Elite Wrestling by bringing in Impact, giving them a bigger platform than what they already have. New Japan, giving them a bigger platform than they already have. And now what happens if Frankie Fresco says, you know what? I used to be Mr. AEW. This New Japan stuff is a lot better than that. Let me go take my money over there. Let me go take my money over to Impact. You're promoting your competition, and I get it. And I to me, it just, now that I look back on how Vince McMahon ran things, not everything that he's done, but how he ran that business, cutthroat. This is my product. This is what I'm focused on. That's why he's where he's at today. That is why he didn't water his product down. He bought WCW. And what did he do? He did the invasion angle, and he beat WCW again in the invasion angle.
Very, very smart from his end. And that's why WWE is number one, because remember what his father said. His father didn't want him to go and take over every other wrestling organization. So there's gonna be people who are gonna think like his father that are gonna be like,
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you, what would have happened if Tony Khan would have bought Ring of Honor? Okay.
which he
Move
did.
Samoa Joe and Claudio over there, whatever you want to do, and actually did kind of like that invasion angle to build up Ring of Honor.
It may have worked. People might have said, "Yo, he's doing the same stuff that WWE did when WCW came."
That's where he's going wrong. I'm not saying he's got to mirror everything WWE's done, but WWE has done some good things or they wouldn't be around still.
I agree.
I'm not sitting here going to say everything they've done is great. Just as I'm saying, AEW the same way, because we got to watch out, because if you upset one or the other here, but like they want to be so different. They want to be the exact opposite of what WWE is. That some of the things that have been tried, tested, and proved to work, they're still not going to do.
I will agree and disagree with you.
Okay.
I understand that there is a lot of stuff that WWE did that was right, but AEW is trying to be something different. And AEW is not, I don't see it as watered down, like Boss B says it. And the reason I don't see it watered down is because, is New Japan really your competition? Is Impact Wrestling really your competition? No, your competition is WWE. And if
They're
you're able,
wrestling companies, bro.
hold on. At the end of the day, Impact, New Japan, AEW, they all want to do one thing, and it's supersede WWE. So I think the way they look at it is, hey, instead of trying to out buy out my competition, let's join together as one big one and try to work this out between all of us and try to beat this. Well, at least
They
with New
joined together
Japan, they
for
had some
one
agreement.
show.
They
They joined together for one show.
But look what happened. WWE wanted to do the situation with New Japan Wrestling. Remember? So obviously, if WWE decided that they wanted to do the same type of angle, and New Japan told them, "Yo, go fly a kite. We like what we do with AEW." That goes to show you that maybe WWE.
That's what they told them. Go fly a kite, because that's what we like doing with AEW. Do you know why they like doing with AEW? Because AEW still allows them to do whatever they want to do. Again, as I just told you, what Vince McMahon does. Vince McMahon looks out for WWE.
Yes, I agree.
Nothing else. Their
Yeah,
deal with New Japan would have been like, that guy's coming here.
Oh yeah,
And a couple guys there, and that's how
he was strong on them.
Worked out. Yeah.
I mean, I get you, but
you sit here and you say they want to supersede. They don't. Tony Khan does. They just want a piece of the pie, and they're getting a bigger piece of that pie because TK allows them to get a bigger piece of that pie.
Again, I don't see it, because at least I haven't seen the trend where most of their wrestlers have all of a sudden jumped ship and left to Impact or left to New Japan. If that starts to happen, then I'll agree with you 100%. But that hasn't happened yet.
Let me ask you this. Okada, right? Against Bryan Danielson. Who's winning that match?
For me, Bryan Danielson should win it.
Because you're AEW.
Yeah.
New Japan's probably going to think Okada should win this match.
Now, let me ask you something. Remember, a couple minutes, 2 seconds ago, I said to you, we haven't seen any AEW jump ship over to New Japan. Have we seen New Japan wrestlers jump ship to AEW?
Yeah, Jay White.
And Takeshita.
Yeah, I know Takeshita. Yeah, sorry.
So you could look at it as like, maybe why did those guys jump from New Japan and decided to come to AEW? Probably because they realized, hey, hold on a second, maybe I need a change. Maybe I could get bigger in the States, because remember, all these wrestlers are also going to be looking at they don't want to stay for the rest of their lives in AEW. They probably want to get to AEW, to WWE.
Why doesn't TK meet with New Japan, meet with all these guys, and be like, hey, look, separated, we're not going to beat the guys in Connecticut.
No,
we're not beating them separated. Let's come together, make one big ass super federation, and it's under this banner, You still can run your shows here. You still can run your shows here, but it's under this banner that we run the TV and stuff.
We don't know if maybe he did propose that. Maybe he didn't. It doesn't. It typically you would probably
I
say
can
to yourself,
go back to again to saying he proposed it and they said, no, we're good with our slice. We'll show up. We'll show up one pay-per-view a year. We'll send you some guys. You'll steal some guys from us, and we'll continue doing what we do here.
maybe maybe that works for Tony Khan. We don't know. Maybe it does work for him. I'm just saying. I get your perspective, and I get the cutthroat of WWE and all that stuff. I mean, that's why they're number one. But I also am gonna go ahead and say they're number one because, I mean, Vince McMahon made it a priority to get rid of the whole business. Tony Khan doesn't look like that. Not everybody's gonna be that cutthroat. Vince McMahon's father wasn't like that. Vince McMahon's father wanted actually
territories for a totally different time then.
But
it's a totally different time frame in wrestling because you couldn't control TV the way you can these days. You didn't have those channels. Everything was pretty much local.
Look, man, I get the cutthroat. I get the fact that sometimes you have to, be shady to do certain things, but you never know how things work behind the scenes. Look at that golf. the Saudis and the PGA, they were competing with one another, and then what happened? They decided to unite. So in the long run, this is not at the time that we're living right now. We don't know if maybe in the long run AEW grows and gets bigger and bigger, and then they say, okay, it's time for us to take over. Let's buy them out or something. So we can't just it's not set in stone, is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, nothing's set in stone, but is this game plan working right now for AEW?
You got to give it time, man. I know we don't have patience. I know we want AEW to develop to be like really, really great because it's always good to have fun competition between two wrestling organizations and probably even more. But you got to give it time. I mean, WWE is a beast. WWE is a beast, man. And it's not, if you want to take down the beast, it's going to take a while before you can tame the beast.
Shouldn't be losing ratings, is what I'm saying.
They've stayed in that 800, 900 mark. Let's keep it real. That's what they average. Even their Twitter account says it. So